Welcome to Dungeon Academics. My name is Thomas and I will be your instructor. I am, on occasion, a forgetful player. And by that I mean that for characters that have lots of little abilities, I occasionally forget to use them. My current character, Trot the Warlock Bard, I have two abilities that I notoriously forget to use almost all the time. As a goblin, I have an ability called Fury of the Small. And that means that a maximum of once per turn and up to proficiency bonus times per day, I can add d6 damage to an attack as long as it's against a target that's bigger than me. In addition to that, once per turn, for all combats, I can add my proficiency bonus to the damage of an attack in the form of bludgeoning damage because I'm a Dow Genie Warlock. So that's a potential, well, at the moment, I think I've got a proficiency bonus of 3. So that's 3d6 damage spread throughout the day and proficiency bonus damage per turn I'm missing out on because I forget to use them. And this is somewhat frustrating. It's not the biggest drop in damage. I'm not forgetting that I have powerful spells or abilities, but it would be nice if I could remember everything. So I was thinking, what can I do to make my next D&D character easier to play? Now, I'm going for Doug the Turtle here. He's going to have a couple of levels in Hexblade Warlock and the rest in Bladesinger Wizard. And I thought it would be nice to have cards with his abilities on. So, for example, Hexblade's Curse. I've got the information that it needs there, so where I get it from, how many uses I get per day, when I activate it, what I need to activate it, so it's a bonus action to activate it, and when I get it back. So I get this back every time short rest. So if I want to use it in my turn, I'll play this card, Hexblade's Curse, uses my bonus action, and when I've finished with it, I'll discard it, and there you go. When I take a short rest, I'll get it back. I also have a couple of Warlock spell slots that I get back on a short rest, so I've put them there. I've got a few other useful things. Blade Song. When I become a Bladesinger Wizard, I'll get 2 uses of that per day. So I printed out 2 of them. It's got all the little abilities on, and I put at the bottom in brackets the ability you get at level 14, if I ever get there, who knows. But I've got those. Arcane Recovery, I get to use that once per day. And a couple more Wizard level 1 spell slots. And then I've got all this stuff that I get to use more frequently. So Song of Defense is a reaction. I can do that, uses a spell slot. That comes at a higher level Bladesinger Wizard. Did that already. I'm hoping to get Warcaster at some point. So I've got the reaction for Warcaster. I'm going to use the Crusher feat, and there's 2 abilities that come with Crusher. One you can use once per turn to push a target back. And the other happens whenever you score a critical hit with it. So I put them on separate cards. And then I hope to get the Polearm Master feat at some point. So there's a reaction attack and a bonus action attack that come with Polearm Master. And my plan is to use the Hex spell a lot. So I've got the bonus action retarget Hex thing there. And as I'm a turtle, shell defense, I can hide in my shell. Now you've noticed that these are all color-coded. There's 3 colors. The way that I've planned this is green stuff, whenever I play it, I take it back at the end of the turn. Easy peasy. So I can use it again next turn. The yellow stuff, this is stuff I get back on a short rest. So whenever we take a short rest, I go through my discard pile and I take any of these yellow ones back. And the pink ones, I get these back on a long rest. So once I've played them, they stay in the discard pile until I take a long rest, and then I get the whole discard pile back. My original plan was to have it traffic lights with green, yellow, and red. But my reasoning is that red, I don't think the ink's going to show up. It's really hard to read black text on a red paper. So I thought this salmon pink would be easier for my middle-aged eyes to read. And pink's a lovely colour. I've got nothing against it. It's a mixture of white and red, so it's kind of reddish. Good enough for me. So I think these are going to be really nice. My plan is to stick them on cardboard, snip them out from the cardboard again, and then laminate them. So they're going to be tougher. and have a little bit more weight and thickness to them. And I'll be honest, I like having things on cards in my hand. So it's going to be easier for me to remember to use my abilities if I'm actually holding them. So that's certainly going to help me. I'm planning on printing out all the spell cards I need as well. I know you can buy packs of them. At some point I'd like to get some shiny, official, nice spell cards, but that can wait. I'll just print out some for now. That's fine with me. But it got me thinking, why doesn't Wizards of the Coast make things like this already? This would be really useful. It would be great for new players, because rather than just having a page in a book where you have to read all the abilities, you just give them the cards. These are the things you can do. As you level up, here are some more cards. You get more options, or swap out old cards for new, more powerful versions of them. I think that would not only be great to play with, it would enhance the player experience. But from Wizards of the Coast point of view, it's a product they can sell. They can manufacture these and sell these, and it's not something you absolutely have to have, because all this information is already on your character sheet, I hope. So you don't need it, but it's nice to have. I've talked a lot in videos about how to monetize games by having stuff that's not necessary but nice. And this is a potential product for Wizards of the Coast that players might want to buy. And if they change character to a different class or multi-class a character, they're going to buy a different set. So it's a product that players are going to buy more than once, potentially. And when they said Dungeons and Dragons is under-monetized, this is the kind of thing they should be doing. Now, I've talked a lot about monetization in games, and I really don't think Wizards of the Coast is going in the right direction with this. I think what's happened is that they've recruited some very expensive executives from the gaming industry. I believe that one of their senior executives, or former senior executives, came from Xbox. And they've tasked them to think, how can we make more money from Dungeons and Dragons? And they've responded in the way that they would when they were talking about a computer game. It's just like that bit in the series House. If you've got a group of doctors together, if you've got a brain surgeon, an endocrinologist, and a doctor of internal medicine, and you ask them to diagnose a patient, the brain surgeon's always going to say it's something wrong with their brain. The endocrinologist is going to say it's something wrong with their hormone levels. And the internal surgeon says it's something you've got to fix with surgery. They all suggest solutions that are relevant to their field. And because these executives have come from the video game field, their natural thought on how to make money from a product is live service subscription fees and microtransactions. And that's what we're seeing right now. The idea that D&D Beyond and this virtual tabletop is going to be the premium Dungeons and Dragons experience, and everyone's going to want to pay for it. And there's going to be little upgrade packs that you can get animations from your character or different skins, and you can buy these little things for your character with microtransactions. Now, I'm not saying this is the most terrible idea in the world. I'm sure a lot of people like that. But it's not for me. My gold standard for Dungeons and Dragons is sat around a table with a group of people. Now, I know this is not always possible. That I'm in a group where we are spread in multiple European countries plus America. So sitting around a physical table together is impossible, really. Certainly impractical. But I'm also joining a game where we're going to be playing sat around a table in a cafe once a week. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think this premium gaming experience where you're sat around a table is what Wizards of the Coast should be aiming at. How can we encourage people to play games around a table? And what can we offer them that will make their gaming experience better, whilst also allowing us to make money? And designing cards like this, I am no graphical designer, which is painfully obvious from all the stuff that I've done. But as a practical idea, this is great. Imagine if this was done on fancy heavy-duty cardstock with nice artwork. This should be fantastic. I would certainly pay money for this, and I'm guessing thousands and thousands of Dungeons & Dragons players would go, yeah, that's actually a really useful thing. I'll do that. And this color-coded system, you could have symbols saying like what things cost to activate, whether as an action, a bonus action, a reaction, or just something you can do. Having all of that information on the card graphically. Maybe rewriting the rules. So I copy-pasted this from the SRD or wherever. So this is the wordy version. But if you rewrote this to be less texty, it would be even better. There'd be more space for art and graphics. But this is definitely a product that could sell. So why isn't Wizards of the Coast doing this? Why is Wizards of the Coast strongly pushing online only or online foundation gaming experience? Is it solely because they think that's the easiest thing to monetize? Well, perhaps it is the easiest thing to monetize, but I believe it shows a lack of imagination, that there are plenty of ways that you can offer products to Dungeons & Dragons players who are not going to be based on a computer, and this product will be something that improves their gaming experience and doesn't feel exploitative. If you have any product that is you have to have this to play, that becomes a barrier to entry, and I don't like this. These, you could print the cards and then offer a PDF online so people can have them for free. And I think most people who would download them and play them for free would probably want to upgrade them to the paid version at some point. So having a free version doesn't necessarily decrease the amount you'd make in sales. It just means that everyone gets to use it, and the people that can afford to buy it get to buy it. And that's okay with me. So why not stuff like this? I'd love it. In fact, when I'm working on my own game designs, whether it's going to be for Dungeons & Dragons or for my own game, I'm thinking about stuff like this all the time. How can I make stuff that's tactile, it's physical, it's nice to hold and nice to use, that the players can get for free, so it's not a barrier to entry, but we can still sell them a premium gaming experience version down the line if they want. And that's the important bit to me. It's going to be nice to play with. It's going to be fun to use. It's got to add to the gaming experience, but without being a barrier to entry for people, while still being a potential source of revenue for the publisher. Isn't that the way it should be, rather than live service and microtransactions? What do you guys think? I'd love to know your opinions, and if you know anyone in Wizards of the Coast, show them this video. Tell them this is how they should be making their money. Because I love Dungeons & Dragons. I want to see Dungeons & Dragons to succeed and grow. And part of that is it's got to be a viable business. It's got to make some profit for the company. But let's do it in a way that benefits the players by making the game better. And let's remember that at its heart, Dungeons & Dragons is a game where you sit around a table with a group of friends, tell stories, with nothing more than your imagination, a character sheet, some dice, and maybe some cards to help you remember your special rules. So, thank you for listening, and enjoy your next game, whatever it may be.